Hello! For this class, you will need a yoga block. If you do not have a block, you can try using a firm pillow, a large foam roller, or even a sleeping bag and its stuff sack. We'll get started today in child's pose. Take a moment to land. You can either bring the knees together or knees out a little wider to create more space into the hips. Arms can extend forward, maybe palms facing down as you spread your fingers out wide, press down the palms, knuckles, fingertips down into the earth. Can you relax your shoulders away from ears? Then begin to bring a little more attention inward and towards the breath as you inhale through the nose and exhale, let it go. Again, full breath in, full breath out. 2 more breaths, inhale and exhale. Last breath, fill up through the belly, the ribs, the chest. See if you can sip in a little more air, hold at the top. And open mouth, let it go. Next inhale brings you up through tabletop position. We'll set up for cat-cow. Shoulders will stack up over wrists, hips over knees. As you inhale, you can drop the belly, open up through the chest, maybe lift your gaze. On your exhale, round through the spine, press the floor away. About 4 to 5 breaths here, your own pace. You can move the spine in any direction, maybe side to side. You can also take circles. Then maybe even close the eyes if you'd like, just moving the spine in all directions. About 2 or 3 more breaths to even out. See if you can allow the movement to follow your breath. Just moving the spine any way that feels organic, maybe pausing anywhere that needs a little extra breath today. When you feel about even, we'll meet in tabletop position. Eventually, we'll walk the hands forward about a palm distance. We'll lower all the way down to the belly, so hug your elbows in tight as you lower your chest, chin, belly down into the earth. Eventually, we'll slide forward. We'll meet in Sphinx pose. Forearms down on the mat. About 90-degree bend in the arms. See if you can stack shoulders over elbows. Press the forearms down as you lift your chest. And gaze can stay forward or slightly down, trying to keep length in the back of the neck. You can stay here for a few breaths or maybe chin to chest, maybe rock ear from shoulder to shoulder. You can take full circles if that feels good in the neck. About 2 or 3 more breaths here. You can choose to stay here as long as you need, or bring your forearms out in front across the top of the mat. Forehead can rest down on the forearms. You can bend your knees, windshield wiper the legs side to side as you release through the low back. Eventually, we'll make our way into half frog pose. Stay down on the belly. Bend your right leg so that your right knee and right toes are pointing away from you. And try to get your knee in line with your hip. Try to find about a 90-degree bend in your right leg, so heel facing in, toes facing out. Forehead can stay down, or you can bring one ear to the mat if it feels better in the neck. We'll be here for about 8 to 10 breaths. We're a little over halfway. You can choose to stay here, or if you want to go a little deeper, think about energizing your right shin a bit further away from you, and still trying to keep that 90-degree bend in your right leg. A few more breaths. We're going to transition into a spinal twist on our back. You can turn the gaze over towards the right if you're not already there. Plant the right fingertips down onto the mat in front of the nose. And then, like you would as if you're threading the needle, thread your left arm underneath your right shoulder. And then begin to open your right arm like you're opening up a book. Then keep twisting as you bring your gaze up towards the sky. Right arm will keep twisting open until your right shoulder meets the mat. Your right knee might lift up a little bit, and that's okay. Feel free to readjust as you need to, maybe to center on your mat. Gaze can stay forward, or maybe bring the gaze over the right shoulder if that feels good in the neck. We'll take a few breaths here. And take your time. We'll come back forward onto the belly so you can bring that right arm across the body. Forearms can reach out in front. You can bring your forehead down towards the forearms, maybe bend your knees, windshield wiper the legs side to side. Begin to release through the low back. No rush to get there. We'll eventually make our way to half frog on the left. You can bring the gaze over towards the left, bend your left leg, try to keep a 90-degree bend in your leg. And working our left knee in line with our hip, heels in, toes facing out. You can keep the gaze over towards the left, or maybe forehead back down to the forearms if that feels better in the neck. About 8 to 10 breaths here. We're just over halfway. You can make an adjustment if you'd like to go a little deeper. Think about energizing your left shin a bit further away, trying to keep your 90-degree bend in the left leg. A few more breaths. And taking your time, we'll transition to that spinal twist on our back. You can bring the gaze over towards the left if you're not already there. Plant your left fingertips onto the mat in front of the nose. Then thread the needle so right arm will reach underneath our left shoulder. Left arm will begin to open up like a book. You can take the gaze with you. And then keep twisting open until your left shoulder blade hits the mat. Your left leg might lift a little bit. You can readjust the hips as you need to. You can readjust the legs. And gaze can stay over towards the left if that feels good in the neck, or maybe bring the gaze forward or over towards the right. A few breaths here. When you feel about even, this time we'll make our way onto our backs. You can continue to roll over towards the left. You can bring your legs in towards your chest, or maybe find a happy baby, reaching for the soles of the feet. Maybe rocking from side to side, massaging through the low spine. Eventually, we'll take figure 4 on our back. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh, creating a number 4 with the legs. Hands can reach underneath the hamstring or over top the shin. You can draw your legs in towards your chest. Keep flexing the toes towards your shin to protect your knees. A few breaths here. We're going to transition this into a figure 4 twist. So keep the shape of the figure 4 legs. Release the bind if you have it. Plant the sole of the left foot down into the mat. Keep the shape of the legs and let the legs fall over towards the left, planting the sole of the right foot down into the mat. Right arm can open up over towards the right. If you want to go a little deeper, you can take your left hand and then take a bind as you reach for your right ankle. If you have that bind, think about energizing your right knee towards the top edge of the mat to go a little deeper. Gaze can stay up or maybe bring the gaze over towards the right shoulder. A few breaths here. And take your time, begin to unwind. You can come back through center. You can hug your legs in towards the chest, maybe find another happy baby as you reach the hands towards the soles of the feet. You can rock side to side, massaging through the low spine. Any little movements you need to even out before we take that to the other side. Whenever you feel ready, we'll cross our left leg over, figure 4 to the other side. You can reach for the hamstrings or over top the shin as you draw your legs in towards your chest, and keep flexing the toes towards your shins to protect the knees. A few more breaths here. And transitioning into our figure 4 twist. Keep the shape of the legs. Release the hands if you have the bind. Plant the sole of the right foot down. Keep the shape of the legs as you let the legs fall over towards the right and plant the sole of the left foot down. Left arm can open up over towards the side. Option to take your right hand and reach for your left ankle this time. If you have that bind, think about energizing the knee towards the top edge of the mat. And then maybe gaze over the left fingertips. A few more breaths here. When you feel about even, begin to unwind. You can bring the legs through center, maybe find a happy baby. Any other little movement that you need here. No rush to get there. We're going to make our way into supported bridge. So if you have your block or pillow or anything that you're using instead of a block, you can go ahead and grab that. Plant your feet about hip width distance, maybe a little wider, and try to get knees about stacked over the ankles. Slide your block or bolster or foam roller underneath the hips. And finding a supported back bend, a supported bridge. A few more breaths here. You can choose to stay or take an extended bridge if that's in your practice. For an extended bridge, you can start by straightening one leg. Keep your heel down on the mat as you extend the foot forward towards the top edge of the mat. If you feel a lot of pinching in the hip flexors or low back, you can rebend, plant the feet. If it feels okay, you can extend both feet out long, keep your heels resting down on the mat. Wherever you are, option to extend the arms up overhead for full body opening. About 4 or 5 more breaths. If legs are extended, you can replant the feet, come back into that supported bridge. Option to stay here or find legs up the wall by extending the feet up towards the sky this time. You can take some movement through the ankles if you'd like. About 2 or 3 more breaths. And as you feel ready, you can lower the legs, plant the feet, slide your prop out from underneath you. Lower the hips down. You can bring your legs in towards the chest, maybe take a happy baby. Any little movements you need here to massage through the low spine, you can rock side to side, or maybe draw circles with the knees if they're in towards the chest. If you're not already there, we'll hug the legs in towards the chest. See if you can roll up into a little ball, either hands reaching for the shins, or maybe arms reach all the way over the shins for opposite elbow. One more inhale, see if you can squeeze in as tight as you can. And on your exhale, release arms and legs out long. We'll meet in Shavasana. We'll be here for about a minute. If you need extra time, feel free to pause the audio. Otherwise, I will be here to bring you back into the space when it is time. And slowly begin to deepen into the breath as you inhale to the nose and exhale, let it go. You can hug the legs in towards the chest, maybe roll over onto either side and take a few breaths there. And choosing the path of least resistance, we'll make our way up into a seat. You can keep the eyes closed if you'd like, maybe bring hands to heart center. We'll close our practice with a single breath. Inhale, float through the belly, feel the ribs expand, chest lift. And open mouth, let something go. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my practice with you, and I hope to be with you next time you're on your mat.